Hello, it is me, I am a nerd, and I thought I would take some time out of my day to read you guys a fantasy book. This is one of the first fantasy books I've ever wrote, and hardly anyone knows about it, so it's very niche, very special. Let's get into it. Storyverse and the Ring of Everything. Chapter 1. The girl who was born in the eye of a storm. Words have power, but what about stories? All about human history, men, women and children have told epic tales of heroes and villains, but this story is a little different. It tells about the power of stories. Because whenever a book is written, it creates a pocket universe into which all the characters are born into. The universes are linked in a quantum web. But can someone actually cross the mythical barrier known as the fourth wall? The fourth wall is the only thing standing between a story and the universe. It might be worthwhile noting that it can be broken by characters when writers want a character to talk directly to the audience. But can it be broken from the universe side? Well, it can, but only by an interpreter. An interpreter is someone with a connection to stories so vast that they can actually break that wall. They are known as practitioners of the art. Yeah, it's pretty complex. For example, shortly after Tessa was 1 year old, 9 years ago, she was hiding under her covers reading a comic. By the way, if you guys want this book, it's available at most online bookstores. Tessa, a young girl from the Storm clan, very advanced for her age, was under her bed. She was pretending to be asleep. She was engrossed in a comic, with a hero in front called Storm Maiden. Tessa flips the page as a storm blows outside through the open window. Or a candle burned flickering. The candle is burning. The power of the storm was enough to turn over the street signs. The doorknob on her bedroom door was starting to turn. Temperance, Tessa's grandmother, walks through. She was a woman with blonde hair who looks like a 16-year-old despite being centuries older than she looked. Temperance asked, "Can I tell you a story, Tessa?" With a smile on her face like a mother of 600 years can only give. Tessa yelled, "No way! You're like 100 years old, Grandma." Temperance sighed. A severe understatement, but okay. Temperance waved a hand. A book levitated mid-air off and a chair was pulled from the pages. Like someone climbing through a window. Temperance took a seat. Temperance summoned Tessa's book, which launched out of Tessa's hand at lightning speed and landed in Temperance's hand. She asked, "So Tessa, I need to tell you about this book." Tessa kicked her grandmother's knee and yelled, "Give it back, old lady!" Temperance smiled. "I have multiversal durability, so do your worst." Tessa kicked her grandmother again with a strike that made the bed buckle with a creaking sound radiating outward, and threw another punch followed by a kick. Tessa's hand started to ache. But then she tried to drag her grandmother off the bed. Temperance explained, "A long time ago there was a first author who wrote a book, The Epic of Gilgamesh, and that story was the first story to ever come to life. We call this author the first one, and over time their metals started to fall out of the stories. We used it to make jewelry. And we noticed that the jewelry allowed certain people to enter the Storyverse, a pan-dimensional web of universes." Tessa yelled, "I want my comic!" "No wonder you're from the beginning of the word people, old lady." Tessia, even though my grandmother looks only 16, she is an old lady to me. Looking back on it, she probably enjoyed being called old, but for everyone else thought her just a kid. Temperance explained, I am not that old, Tessa. Only the clock lord is. I am only 600. Sorry, but I was Shakespeare's apprentice, and I befriended Abigail, Shakespeare's daughter. We were like sisters, and you know this book, Tessa. I yelled, give it to me! My eyes became all cute. Please! Temperance said, Tessa, my old friend Abigail could walk in this comic and defeat everyone in this tiny universe. She is an author. With the rings of bound metal, she can summon powers from any book she has ever written. I asked, and how did you beat her? Everyone at Kindy knows you killed Abigail, old lady. Temperance's eyes darkened. She looked like her eyes were feeling centuries of regret. She started shivering like a soldier coming home. I burnt her in her own book. I hope it didn't hurt too much. I felt terror and ran under the bed and yelled, Why, get away! Temperance explained the Storyverse, every story ever written. Abigail was going to conquer every hero, every villain, everything. It is now 9 years later, and I am in my last few years of primary school. I am 10 years old and in the hallway filled with kids. I wouldn't say I am unpopular, although everyone else in my position would be. If I went to Storyverse school, I would be royalty. Temperance's direct granddaughter? That is why I go to human school. The best way to understand my social standing is that I am liked by all. I know everyone, but I am direct friends with no one. I know it's a little sad, but with my extracurriculars, my mum's comic book errands, running the orders for my mum's store, but I love picking out the comics, babysitting Ted and Todd, my little brothers born shortly after me, my fan fiction, my student council stuff. Yeah, I don't have much time to be social. And then there is Sandy. Sandy is walking down the hall as I am readying my bag to defend myself against any strikes. Sandy is above 90s old school bullying, and she is in a mood. She yelled as if we were friends, Tessa, how are you and that police mum of yours? I explained, things have gotten busier after she had to pick me up. Why am I telling you this? She explained, you must be so brave to let your mum go out on those patrols because so many people have guns. I went to move past, but the bullies dragged me back by the hand. The teacher was sat in the corner reading a book, like he should be doing when this is happening. She asked, so either you're so brave or you're so foolish to let your human mother go out and risk herself day and night, hoping she comes home. I smiled and spoke calmly. I can't imagine why you still do this stuff to me. I have made it abundantly clear that I don't put up with your bull. And when you grow up, you'll either be a serial killer or a CEO, and I don't care which. One day, I will stand up to monsters like you, human or not. My retort was met with a chorus of, burn! I walked down the hallway, not letting her get an ounce of satisfaction. If I had story powers like my grandma or an author, I could fix her up very good. But I don't have that kind of power, so I am stuck for now. And she might not be a human, or for that matter. Probably nothing too major, just an out-of-control witch, a monster of one type or another, an alien from a comic, a cartoon character. The clues come from the words like human mother or let her go out on patrol. Anywho, I took the 226 bus to get home. It smelled of bus chair, kind of like a mix of fabric and Pino Clean. Then, finally, I got off at my stop. I walked around the corner, up a flight of stairs, back through an alley and down to 2nd Street. I walked to in our doors and shoot the store. I was meant to cover a shift for a sick employee. Madison, she is a good one too. Doesn't ask too many questions when crazy stuff happens. I ran through the store and found Madison close to tears. You wouldn't know if you didn't work in retail, but she was at her breaking point. The Karen yelled, "What do you sell these trading cards to kids?" She tore up a packet and yelled, "No wonder there is so much graffiti with you selling cards like these. You're raising a generation of delinquents." The card had drawings of monsters on them with attacks and special abilities as well. I asked, "You're referring to our D&D game cards?" "Correct. You have opened the packet? Please pay for them." She yelled, "Oh, I have to pay for these. Yeah, let's see." She took a comic off the rack and sighed, "Garbage," took another one framed comic, The Witch Hunter's Daughter, and yelled, "More garbage," and then tried to make a Sandman comic off the shelf. I ordered, "That comic is a Sandman comic. If there ever was a modern Shakespeare." I grabbed her wrist and then looked at her with demon eyes. "It was this." She went to interject and I said, "If you damage another one of those worlds, I will ask you to leave, madam." She stumbled for a moment. She yelled, "Are you a child? I want to speak to your manager." Before she could say manager, I snapped. There is no manager. This is a family business. It stops with me." She asked, "Can I get some stupid dice for my son?" I ordered, "Either you pay for the stuff you broke or you're not getting your dice." She ran out of the store. It was a long rest of the day, but I pulled through overtime, and I was late for my shift with Madison and paid the price. I don't have time to think these days. I would want to just snap my fingers and clean the store in a moment. Soon I'll get a chance to do just that. But at the steep price of much worse problems. So that's it for chapter 1. Tell me exactly what you guys think. Remember, this book is available from most online stores, including Amazon. And I just want to tell you guys, this has been a big experimental video for me. And I really enjoyed this. And tell me if you want a chapter 2 in the comments. Do you want me to read chapter 2? I am a nerd.